Welcome to our annual news update, where we review 2009 through some of the work that we've done with clients around the world and look towards 2010 with a few predictions of our own. Late in 2008 and early 2009 saw a hive of activity around RFIs, the requests for information that tried to establish whether the company you were working with, and that included the client working with you, were compliant. But compliant with what? There seemed to be no consistent standard. There seemed to be no common questions being asked. And in fact, some of the questions asked demonstrated a complete lack of understanding of local culture and business practices. It showed that one size does not fit all. But DMCs, amongst others, are quick to learn. And whilst they were being buffeted by this RFI mania, some corporates were beginning to make direct approaches, and this brought another set of challenges and opportunities, but again, for whom? But the RFIs were also challenging the agents, PCOs and production houses too. From online web-based to paper-based requests for information, the time it took to complete with no guarantee for return frustrated many. But the underlying sentiment is where the proactive see an opportunity in the long run. The relentless tide of change around transparency was and still is a hot topic, and it probably will be the biggest catalyst for change as we go forward. Many in their hearts knew that traditional pricing methods, which had served the industry so well, are slowly evaporating, and this is creating challenges for some where they're beginning to wonder how they can make a profit. The BRIC economies are also embracing change, and this autumn in Moscow saw us bring in awareness and education to an audience that truly wants to compete as equals on the international stage. And the Russian market is not just about outbound. The corporate Russian market is active too, and for those who are investing into this, they'll see the success in the long run. But the challenges and opportunities are complex and interesting, but the rewards will no doubt surface over time. Today, the single biggest challenge is one of language. Sporting success for South Africa is vital as she gears up for the World Cup this summer. This too is an interesting economy, and it was interesting to see just how many of the suppliers there cover the entire continent, showing that a good DMC has no boundaries. One of the age-old issues came very much under the spotlight, and it's that of hotel accommodation. The agent goes direct to the hotel for a keen price, and that's not always the case, but then they fall back on the DMC when either they don't get the answers they need or they find that management from afar is problematic. And this brings me to one of the key changes for 2010. As an industry, we should take a more collaborative approach. There is one budget. Why not apportion the skills and the resources and the competencies and apportion the budget likewise to those service suppliers? It's a more collaborative and it's a more equitable approach. Commissions are slowly evaporating, and there's going to be only one budget which has to feed all. Managing the client expectations from the outset is key. And some would say this is easier said than done. But for the brave, with new business models, they're beginning to see the success that this can bring. Skills and competencies are the core of future success, realising they have a value and a cost. It's surprising how many recruitment agencies are now being asked routinely for risk assessment and language skills to be part of a job specification. And this brings me to the point of what is your service proposition? Have you tried succinctly summing up in one sentence what your skills and competencies are? I'll guarantee it will focus the mind, but it's the starting point of realising what it is that you are offering to the end user. And this brings me to 2010 and our predictions for this forthcoming year. Firstly, a collaborative and seamless supply chain will be one of the keys to success. A new business model that is better suited to a short lead-in market. a more sophisticated and integrated marketing effort and focus to build awareness before sales. Contracted suppliers, as the client requirements need to be shared by all. A variety of pricing models, a flexible approach. I also think more transparency, and that means managing expectations from the outset and being very clear on the requirements of both sides. Improved skill sets and a need to change thinking in the way the relationship between you, the client, and the team interacts. A redefining of loyalty in order to retain clients. Your personality and what you've done before will not be enough. Investment in project management tools that allow the client to see how the money is spent in real time. And finally, more consolidation and the emergence of a redefined event management definition. No doubt we're in for an interesting and probably bumpy year in 2010. One thing is clear, to do nothing and hope that normal will return is not a betting man's favourite option, because normal fell by the wayside somewhere in 2009. Thank you for listening.